Hello and welcome back to Retrospective, guys. This video belongs to the gameplay elements of Resident Evil 3. Many people may think that watching Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 footage will not show much difference in gameplay departments, but believe me, there were huge improvements for Resident Evil 3. So stay tuned to see what it has to offer. With that said, this is Daniel from Retrospective and welcome to Resident Evil 3 Retrospective Part 4. Camera and presentation. To be honest, camera and presentation in Resident Evil 3 is not that different from Resident Evil 2, but the major difference comes from the environment. Because in the first third of Resident Evil 3 you spend your time inside the Raccoon City streets, you will see new things with the same graphical style. The camera angles are perfect as always. And the problem that I had with Resident Evil 2 camera and the object positions did never reoccur in Resident Evil 3. The second third of the game is placed inside the clock tower, and this part is one of the most amazing set pieces I've ever seen inside any Resident Evil games. You can clearly see that this is an ancient building, and combining this with the RPD cameo, you can say that we have amazing environment within the game. But the camera angles within the environments are masterfully placed as well. You can see almost everything you need to see, and you are not able to see many things that create tension in an extreme level. Character models are a bit better than Resident Evil 2. We can see more details in the characters, and it seems that the polygons have been improved for both main characters and zombies as well. Pre-rendered backgrounds are a masterpiece as well, and once again Capcom did an amazing job with this. So with that said, we can give this game the score 100 out of 100 for the release time and 90 out of 100 for today's modern standards. Combat. The combat in this game have been improved dramatically compared to Resident Evil 2. When we talk about the combat, we have to look at different aspects of this combat. First one is shooting. Since Jill is more trained, she is more agile, she is better, and she is more accurate using the guns. But there is a new mechanic inside the game that changed the whole dynamic of the gameplay, and it is the dodge mechanic. I gotta say, the dodge mechanic is amazing when you pull it off, but that's the main problem. When you pull it off, it's not in your hand. To be honest, I never figured out how to dodge enemies in a consistent manner. You should press aim and shoot at the same time as your enemies attack, but I gotta be honest, most of the time that I dodged the enemy, I tried to shoot them, and I dodged instead. Knife is more useful compared to Resident Evil 1 and 2, and the combat mechanics make it more enjoyable to pop up zombies' heads. In total, I gotta say that the combat in this game is a little bit better than Resident Evil 2, but it's not perfect at all. So I will give it 70 out of 100 for the time of release and 40 out of 100 for today's standards. Puzzles. It's fair to say that the puzzles are an essential part of the classic Resident Evil games, and Resident Evil 3 delivered on this department. After the puzzles were dumbed down a little bit in Resident Evil 2, in Resident Evil 3 we see a huge improvement in the puzzle department. You can see a lot of puzzles that doesn't make any sense in the real world, but in Resident Evil lore it will be very considerable. For example, consider a puzzle in the water treatment facility. This water sample puzzle may bring a lot of sad memories from your childhood, and it was amazing, but I don't know how I can solve it very easily today. In total, backtracking and puzzles in this game are very good, and there are some puzzles that may lead to some places that you are not supposed to go in the normal playthrough, but it will reward you a lot with this kind of puzzles. Usually some weapons and some ammunition will be waiting for you in such cases, and it makes the replayability a strong point in Resident Evil 3. So if we want to give a score, I gotta say that the puzzle department in Resident Evil 3 will be at around 90 out of 100 for the time of release, and for today's standards it will get around 80 out of 100. Atmosphere, story and engagement. When we talk about the atmosphere in Resident Evil 3, I gotta say that they did an amazing and fantastic job with this game. The first third of the game is inside the streets of the Raccoon City, and the streets oozing with personality. You can see a lot of details in every corner, and you can imagine that the people used to live and love this place not a long time ago. Places such as stores, gas stations, hospital, and especially the Raccoon City's clock tower are extremely memorable for RE fans. Personally, I did not like the environment in the final part, and the abandoned factory did not have the personality that we saw up until that point. About the story, I gotta say that the story is so dumb that I love it. There are a lot of loopholes inside the story, and there are a lot of corners that were cut in the development process. For example, when you see the beginning of the game, as I have mentioned in the review, you don't know how the hell Jill was blown out of her apartment like that. But the story is engaging enough to make you invest time and even play the game again and take other decisions. One of the most important things that comes in terms of engagement for this game is the life selections. The life selections did not appear in any other Resident Evil, and I don't know why. The tense and suspensefulness of these life selections made me scared every single time when I was a kid. Most of the time, the result of your selection did not have such an amazing impact that you could not finish the game or anything that breaks your gameplay experience. But they were tense. You felt that if you fail in select one of them in time, something horrible may happen. The curiosity would be rewarded. And some of these life selections would end up to new events inside the game and even a new ending. So try to play the game multiple times with different selections and see what might happen. The score for this part will be around 90 out of 100 for the release time. And when it comes to the modern day, I gotta say that the atmosphere and the engagement is still intact. So I give it 90 out of 100 as well for modern day score. Control scheme. The control scheme for this game is more fluid compared to Resident Evil 2 and 1, especially to Resident Evil 1. You can move more freely, and the control of Jill feels a bit smoother compared to controlling Leon and Claire. On the other hand, a very much appreciated quick turn have been added to this game. And it's a very simple thing, but it was very necessary in order to get away from the enemies. As I said before, dodge mechanic was unreliable, but it was very useful when you could pull it off. So we could say that the control scheme is almost the same with minor improvements. So we will give it around 80 out of 100 for the release date standard. And for the modern era, based on the hate that I will see these days for the fixed camera and tank control, I gotta give it around 50 out of 100. Extra content. The extra content for this game includes some of the standard ones that we have seen before and some of the new ones that we would see in the later installment as a mainstay. The first thing is clothing. Yes, you can get a lot of new costumes inside the game. When you finish the game, you will get awarded with a key, and this key will open a boutique inside the streets of Raccoon City. You can find a lot of new costumes, and one of them is not even a costume, it's a full skin. And you can play as Regina from the Dino Crisis inside Resident Evil 3. Next one is guns. You can unlock weapons with infinite ammo. But using these weapons and unlocking them is not as easy as you could do before. In order to do that, you have to play a new gameplay mode called Operation Mad Jackal. This is the first instance of the Mercenaries mode that we would love in the other games, but with some differences. First of all, you had to get back to the beginning of the game, and in your way you had to kill enemies, save other survivors, and pick up many items that you could pick. Each one of them will add to your timer, and when you reach at the beginning of the game, you will face the shadow of the Brian Irons, that you may know him from Resident Evil 2. He was the chief of the police inside Raccoon City. And don't forget that you have a bomb inside your body. If you don't get there in time, you will blow up. When you get enough points, you can unlock different weapons with infinite ammo, and even a Gatling gun and a rocket launcher with infinite ammo. So this time,
it's not about how you play the main campaign, but the way that you play this new scenario will determine which kind of weapons you can use inside the main campaign. Extra contents are good, but not as good as we got inside Resident Evil 2. So we will give it around 80 out of 100 for the time of release and 50 out of 100 for modern days standards. So in total, the average score for the release time is 85 out of 100. And for the today's standard, we have to give it around 66 out of 100 on average. What's your score? Let us know in the comment section down below.
Okay guys, thank you for watching this video. Please leave a like and share it with your friends. And let us know which one of the gameplay department changes were your favorite. Don't forget to click on the bell icon to get notified whenever we release a new video. And let us know what you want to see next in the comment section. That's it, this is Daniel from Retrospective, and I will catch you guys in the next video.